this is the questions you're gonna ask me. I'm sure. The reboot question. It's a cash grab, banking on the fact that people are gonna want content that they're used to and that's popular. So
Mhm.
that's why you see things rebooting as those people get older because then their kids will wanna watch it and so on and so forth. And every now and then we get something great. Like, I whenever I think of, like, the best reboot ever into a movie, I think of 21 Jump Street 'cause I think it's hilarious. But the one good one is not worth all the other stuff. And it's not that I care that those things are happening. Yeah, that's great. You wanna remake something or it's fun. But the fact that they're not using original ideas, they're buying them and shelving them. There's no independent cinema like that anymore. And, anyway, but you get the point. So the Boo Boo movie is just the epitome of that. What's popular right now? Let's grab onto it and ride the train, right?
Literally, because you put them on your keychain. Hi, thank you so much for joining us here today. If you could, for our audience today, could you share your name, where you're from, and how you are involved in the entertainment industry?
So, my name is Kacie Newport. I have been in the industry for about 20 years. I am the owner and founder of a talent management company called BAM Management. And I also now have a production company in the works called Electric Dollhouse. I'm based in Poughkeepsie, New York, but my clients and people are all over the country, mainly New York and LA.
That wonderful to hear. And Casey, can you tell us what are your thoughts on the reboots?
Cool. What are my thoughts on the reboots?
Mhm.
My thoughts on the reboots. So the reboot whole thing really just kind of falls into this, like I said before, like into this IP category. And, I've done a lot of research on reboots and why they happen and why books to movies happen. And it really started in the early 2000s with Twilight, actually. Well, in that era when that started happening in the 2000s, there started to be more and more IP that turned from product or book or old movie to new movie. And the real reason for that is money. I mean, the bottom line is money. So, my thoughts are if I wanted to be in a cash grab industry, I would own a casino. Just kidding, I don't know. I would do something, anything else, right? I don't know. But what has happened is in the past 25 years or so, 20, 25 years, is that studios, producers, network heads, they all know that they get a lot of money from things that are flashy. For me, of course, there are things that I enjoy, but very rarely am I like, this is a great reboot or this is a great book to movie adaptation. Sometimes it's very cool. But half the time I find myself not watching all the way through. And I say, why? And it's because the original is usually better, or I've already seen that, done that. I don't need to dress it up in a new way. I want an original idea, and they're out there. And we know that because we work with actors, right? And so we see actors and writers, and we go to film festivals, and there's original ideas. And of course, there's similar stories, but they're told differently. And so why can't we use that? Well, we can, but we won't because it doesn't make as much money in their eyes. It doesn't have that huge impact right away with all the branding deals, all the nostalgia, all in one.
And they're so focused on the short term, they're not focused on the long term. How this could make money in the long run, how this can add to the culture, how it could become iconic for a century rather than for a month or two in our current timeline. So yes, they're definitely concerned with the now and not with the future. And do you think that time affects the reboots? Like for example, Brigadoon is me and my wet favorite movie. And the reboot that they made came out in, like, '69, I wasn't even born yet, so I would love to see that remade because that was also almost 60 years ago. Do you think that a significant amount of time makes reboots easier to digest?
It depends.
Mhm.
It depends. When people take a classic and reboot it, it's difficult for me. It depends on what they're doing with it. Oh, that's such an interesting question because I look at something like, let's think about some 50s movies. And if you can't redo Rear Window. Like, you can't redo, like, you shouldn't touch those types of things, the million foot pole. You shouldn't redo, even though they do some of the
Blob.
things. You said again?
The Blob.
Oh, but they did redo the Blob in the 80s.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, I still
interesting
wasn't born,
choice.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's interesting choice to bring that up, but it's true. They shouldn't have. The original's better. But sometimes it works, but what are the odds that it works no matter how much time goes? And I'm trying to think, you tell me, because I can't really think of the thing where I'm like, man, they really did a great job rebooting this or redoing it or updating it or making a sequel or a prequel. I have a lot of trouble finding stuff that works that isn't like huge, like that has always been going along. Like, I don't know. I've
Well,
been
I think
thinking,
for the younger people, like, for example, we talked about 21 Jump Street before.
yeah.
You know, I didn't know until after I saw the reboot that it even was a reboot, for example, and then I watched the original, and I actually kinda like the reboot a little better, which I know goes against the
No,
whole point of the Saturday Night
low
Live.
key, I do too.
But there's always gonna be an outlier. There's always an
Yeah.
outlier, and they did it well, and they did it with an interesting cast. They did it with, that was Channing Tatum's era. He was a newer actor. We weren't seeing his face for 50 years everywhere, and just him for 50 years, for example. And they brought a new twist to it. And just like you said, I think it depends, how are they going to do it? How much time is between the original and the reboot. But also, I think if you're gonna reboot something, stop rebooting the great originals. Reboot the movies that flopped. I
Yes,
think
I
that's a
agree with
better
that.
opportunity, and a better use of everybody's
Yeah.
time. It gets as an actor, that would get me excited saying, "Oh, there was this movie that I knew could have been great, but the original wasn't good. I would love to be a part of the reboot." As an actor, that excites me and
Yeah.
it doesn't anger me. But we've seen Toy Story how many times? We don't need a fifth. Shrek, whatever number we're on, the audience already predicted the entire plot. So now they have
Yep.
to redo everything. The trailer was a bust. Let's be honest, it was a bust, and we don't need it anymore. And I'm so curious, why do we keep rebooting the same stories? And we have all these world myths to take from. The studios. They're thinking, oh, action and adventure, fantasy, romance, the big ones that bring in the money. Why aren't we doing films about Hindi myths? It's the story's already there. There's probably some sort of Bollywood movie about said specific myth, and you can take from that. So there's less work involved. So if they're trying to be streamlined or efficient from their perspective, why are we rebooting the same white myths, the same American stories?
I
Why,
was
do-
just
why
gonna
aren't we
say,
pulling
you
from
know
other
why?
cultures? There you go.
You know why.
Mhm. We know why. We know
Yep.
why. hmm We know why, and it's called DEI.
Especially now. Especially now.
Yeah, but
You
that would also give us an opportunity to see actors we haven't seen before. And it's not that I don't love the ones we're seeing on repeat. It's not that I don't think they deserve the accolades. But, again, from a fellow actor perspective, we just wanted to. And I just want to hear your thoughts. Aren't you tired of seeing the same actors over and over and over again?
well, I mean, obviously, because I've read
Unless
that.
they're fines.
No, but the thing is though that this is the whole world has changed a lot. There's less product. There's more push for big money names. And, I won't get into a lot, but I watch a lot of Adam Conover's videos and he talks a lot about different things like this. I always like to quote the people that I watch because some of them aren't my ideas, but just talking about average ages of celebrities being higher. Where are the celebrities now? Why only certain people are getting accolades? Why there's a lot of nepotism, more nepotism than I think I've ever seen before in my life. Do I get mad that they're doing it, or frustrated? Yes, the answer is going to be yes. Do I get mad that, ugh, this is a whole conversation for another, like, seriously, because there's a lot of reasons why this is happening. But aside from that, I don't get mad. I get frustrated that my clients aren't getting these roles because I have such beautiful talent and I have highly trained talent. And when I see my highly trained talent go against somebody for the 50th time, it's frustrating. There should be room for everything. But the problem is they're condensing and doing big cash grabs instead of spreading the wealth, right? That's the problem in the world since the day one. Some people hoard it and some people don't. And I talk about this a lot and in my videos and stuff too, it's like we have a very distinct difference between the haves and the have-nots. And it used to be like here, but it's just spreading and spreading and spreading and spreading. So what you're feeling isn't necessarily, why are these people doing this? It's that the people that run the show are scooping all it up and keeping it here so the money stays here instead of distributing the wealth a little bit more evenly. We used to get some leftovers. Now we barely get any scraps in the middle class. And that's not just managers and actors, it's everyone, you know? And I was thinking too while you're talking, it's not just films and TV that this is happening with, it's also Broadway and theater. And so before, when this started, I was like, well, at least, obviously we have the Disney IP on Broadway, but like, no, whatever. But now, like, every day there's a new show that was a movie coming out. Like, so with Mean Girls and SpongeBob and, Back to the Future. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Heathers was going back, I believe, right? All these things. I can go on and on and on. All this IP that's now, I get it. Harry Potter worked. That makes sense. Now Stranger Things, like, it's insane how much regurgitation we have. And we don't need to. We
I
don't
agree.
need to.
I agree. And it's also happening in fashion, and I'm even seeing it happen in art as well. People are doing the same styles. And with the rise of AI, which again, we could rant about, and that'll be a whole other video. But we're just seeing the regurgitation, just like you said. And it's not just sucking out our wallets, it's sucking out our souls. And it's sucking out our joy from doing what we love to do. And it's creating burnout.
Yeah.
And to kind of circle back to the video you posted online, which I really resonated with, about how, casting networks is now charging the agents and managers, for example. Do you think these casting sites, like Casting Networks Backstage, Actors Access, Casting.com, even Instagram and social media, which now have all these castings on them, do you think they are part of the problem? And if so, why?
This is a very long question. I'm going to try to give you a short answer.
Go ahead. We got time. I got time.
The problem, I don't think, is necessarily the sites themselves.
Mhm.
It's corporate greed and billionaires. And this happens when companies get bought and sold. I understand their businesses. I do know that job postings, to a certain extent, should be free. Like, I agree with that to a certain extent. I do believe that this is a different type of industry with a lot of confidentiality. So there does need to be some fees coming in. Where that lies is a whole other story for another day. The problem I have specifically with casting networks, and I will go on the record saying this forever, is that they're owned by an investment firm. They are owned by a billionaire. And I actually have more videos coming out this week about that. I'm not gonna put that in there. That's just for you and me, just so you know.
We want to plug people
Okay,
who
cool.
support the movement.
Okay, I'm like, oh, okay,
The whole point
yeah,
of
that's
this is
fine.
to
Okay,
upload,
good,
uplift
okay.
you.
Okay, let me say that then. I do have more videos coming out this week talking about billionaires in the industry and what's really happening to it. And I think that's the bigger problem. When these sites come about, they've been around forever. And I mean, controversial take. I don't hate Actors Access as payment scheme. I think it could be better, but they haven't changed their rates in so long that it's like, and we pay for that too. They're not giving us big surprises. What's happening is when a company comes in and just says, when they're literally squeezing you, when they're like, it's a bottom dollar. And yes, you could consider all of them squeezing in their own certain ways. But my problem specifically lies with the obvious, broken trust, lying, and lack of receipts and accountability. And that's when you're dealing with transactional corporate bullshit. That is what pisses me off. And I haven't had those problems with casting.com, breakdown services. I haven't had those problems with the people that I've talked to at the workbook. It's specifically happening with talent systems. So will that change in the future? I don't know. Can we find better options? Sure. Who needs to change those things? Honestly, my 2 cents, it lies in SAG's hands. They're the ones that are supposed to be protecting their actors. They need to help us do what we do. Managers and agents don't really have groups. They can be franchised and they have a talent managers association, but it's not about that. We don't have a union or somebody fighting for us. I've urged the union to help their actors, and that's on them. That is on them. At the end of the day, right now, and this will be in my video today, they're pulling back the fees for agents and managers, but they're still not touching the fact that the actors are paying so much. At the end of the day, the money that you guys need to pay to have a viable profile and casting networks stomps what you need to have on Actors Access. It's so much more money. To have a viable repped profile on Actors Access, you could do for about $100 for 2 years. Casting networks would cost you $600 for that.
Mhm.
So
Unless you're going crazy with adding the photos and videos on there,
sure, but I mean, I'm saying
like
a
I
real
did.
viable profile. I get it, but if you're tight about it, you have good rep that says, "Hey," not anything about Europe, but if you have someone that says, "Hey, this is
Mhm.
what you can do to have a really viable profile, spend this money only." Like you could have a profile that lasts. Maybe make a tweak here and there for $20, but not like casting networks where, yeah, you get unlimited uploads, but it costs way too much. And nobody's fighting for that. And I think for me, having been in this industry so long, having been a manager for almost 11 years now, which is insane. Like I shouldn't even like, is that even allowed? Like, so you know what I mean? Like I've been a manager for almost 11 years and I finally, after all the stuff that we've been through since COVID, I finally just that's it. It pushed me over the edge. And I can't just sit back and be like, oh well, it's gonna be okay. It's not.
It
It
ain't
ain't like that we
okay.
can't have a future and we can't be okay, but we have to work together, you know? When you
I
reached out, I was
agree.
like, "Heck yeah, your guys's, vision is just exactly in tune with what we need, and we need to scream it from the rooftops," you know?
Mhm. Oh, yeah, girl, don't worry. We gonna be screaming. We screaming now.
I love
I'm
to
actually
scream.
I got a sore throat. I was screaming so Do you think that like social media I see so many castings on social media sites now. Like I live on Instagram, I live on Threads. I that's where I got a recent booking from actually.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing to help this problem?
Buyer beware. This is what I was saying. The problem is there's a lot of fakes out there, people that aren't reputable. And I have seen multiple emails, like faux casting office emails reaching out, faux directors and different people reaching out. So the problem with social media is be careful. Even if you're really savvy, sometimes your hopes are just so high that you're trying to like not even pay attention to it. You know, if you have rep, don't ever take anything from those sites without running it through them. That is number 1 for sure. We should be doing that anyway. Should, whatever. If you don't have rep, because a lot of people don't, research, 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 ask 10 friends, ask an acting coach. You have access to people that can help you. Call the union if you're union, call equity if you're and say, "Hey, is this a legitimate thing?" If it's non-union, again, buyer beware. I love that there's stuff on social media. And in fact, I do know some casting directors that do a lot of that because they want real people.
Mhm.
But just check the receipts, make sure they're the right person, and do that. I have no problem with people getting work. With my clients, truthfully, we don't allow for self submissions, but if they see something, they're totally allowed to let me know. And if I give the thumbs up, they can do it because of that reason. I've had people get themselves in some serious pickles, and it's really hard to get out of, and it's really frustrating.
I
So
agree. I agree. For my fellow actors out there, if you're gonna look for castings on social media, look at a casting director's page, someone who has a website. Website. Okay. The website is the moniker of legitimacy. Anyone who's serious about their business is going to have a website. I will die on that hill. By the way, we updated the Starters Block website. It's all pretty if you want to check it out now. But yes, I do also think that in the age of reboots and the age of the sequels and the age of nepotism, I think actors, we're getting a little more desperate. And I know times are tough economically, but we can't let our desperation lead us down dangerous paths. And just like you said, we gotta support each other. We gotta check ourselves, check each other, do what we can. And, I think the community and the community building is one possible solution to this issue. But if you got any other possible solutions to how to fix the reboots, how to fix the constant sequels, how to fix the live action of every movie and TV show we've already loved and seen, I would love to hear any other ideas that you haven't already touched upon.
I'll let you know when I figure it out.
What I do that.
But in the meantime, what I would say to actors, and this is super important right now because you hit the nail on the head, don't let your desperation lead you. Right now is not the time to point fingers at yourself or your rep. The
Mhm.
time is the point where it matters, and that's at the studios, the money, where's it going, that kind of stuff. Call your union. I
Mhm.
say this so much. Call your union. We are not miracle workers. We submit on sites and we call it a day. We can't change that. Call your union and just do that. Your community, key. Another thing that I always talk to actors about is like, read the trades. You guys can find this information. It's there. Look at who's booking what, who's doing what, all of a sudden it's important to say, okay, it's all the same people. This is not my fault. I can't. Sure, there's some people that aren't going to make it. I mean, that's any industry. But right now, the cards are really stacked against people, but it's not their own fault, you know? And I do believe there's a path forward and a way to make it. And I think, but we just haven't figured that out yet. You know, that's part of what I'm trying to figure out, like working on creating our own content, staying away from AI when it comes to creative roles, which, by the way, I'll add this on. I don't have a problem using AI as like an assistant, helping me with things or people helping with things, research assistants. Even Google's powered by AI now. So it helps you organize your thoughts. But when it's taking a creative role away, that's a problem. And so, we have all these things going on. So, yes, people like me are trying to work with other people to make more opportunities without AI, make more independent opportunities. I'm a member of Women in Film and Television. I'm a member of the Television Academy. And so thank you. I'm so excited about that. I love it. And so when we do our meetings and we talk and we network and we talk to the people, it's all about how do we create without that stuff. So people are working on it. Or what you can do is number one, my biggest thing for actors is stay calm. Pointing fingers is not going to help, at yourself or your reps. Call your union. If you're a union, talk to them. Whether or not they do anything, just keep complaining. But really more importantly, talk to your friends. Make content if you can. But at the end of the day, just be happy and strong. Don't stress the stuff that you can't control.
Amen. Amen to that. Yeah, I resonate with everything you just said. And I'm a little curious if you have any ideas on how to convince the studios that the reboots are no longer viable. Like we have our own ideas as the starters block, which we'll reveal later after we're done growing. But I'm always interested to hear other people's suggestions because, maybe someone has an idea or a thought that we haven't thought of.
I'll leave you with this.
Hmm.
If you don't like the way somebody's doing something, do it yourself.
Okay, so I don't know how much I can reveal about this, but do not be surprised if in 5 to 10 years the starters block has started dipping their toe into filmmaking. That's all I'm gonna tease y'all with today. And yeah, Kacie, it was amazing talking to you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
I love you.
I love you. How the kids do it these days.
I don't know. I can't.
Awesome.
I'll just go kiss it.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. But if there's anything else you'd like to share, any projects you want to promote, any of your talent you want to promote, your business, anything, just let us know right now.
Awesome. No, I mean, honestly, of course, you guys can follow at BAM Management is the company's, my management company. At Electric Dollhouse is our new production-ish company. There's a lot going on there, but it's going to be where I have a lot of my videos. I'm going to stop posting on BAM and post on Electric Dollhouse. And then my creative Instagram is at I am VLEIGH. I am V Lee, which is like my alter ego. But yeah, that's it. We have lots of stuff going on, and that'll be the best place to find it.
Wonderful. And thank you again so much for talking to us today. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Y'all, she dropped gems. Follow her on everything. And we will see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.